My abusive ex never called me a bitch. He never put his hands on me. He never told me things like, you'll never amount to anything. You are just trash and you're lucky that you met me. So I didn't know that he was abusive. It took me
Wait, wait a second. I mean, did I miss something here? Is he abusive or is he not abusive? I'm gonna give my commentary at the end. Maybe I missed something here. Let's hear her out.
relationship, running to therapy, spending time with myself, and letting the dust settle, letting the storm pass, because I was in the eye of that storm, for me to recognize, like, oh shit, I was in an abusive relationship. The main tenets of that relationship were stonewalling. He gave me the silent treatment a lot and it fucked with me because of the anxious attachment that I was operating under, and he knew this. It was a lot of gaslighting. I didn't even know the term gaslighting until after we broke up and I started therapy, doing things, getting caught, being called out, and then acting like that's not what I saw, that's not what really happened, etc. Deflecting. He would do something, he would get called out, and then the tables were turned. No, because remember when you did this in 2008, and remember, and seldom, if ever, taking responsibility. Stonewalling, gaslighting, deflecting. And that was a complete mind fuck. And the mind fuck and the abuse mentally wasn't physical. So there were no bruises. I wasn't like, oh, he called me a bitch. But the abuse was insidious. It was slow and it was deep and it got really, really, really ugly in my life. And I loved him. So I thought, so I stayed. And I made excuses because he's not hitting me. He's not calling me a bitch. I don't have it as bad as other people. His mother would even say it. His mother was battered and she would look at me and say, you are so lucky to be with my son. You have won the lottery because you are with my son. So to anyone that needs to hear this, abuse isn't always punching, hitting, slapping, calling you names, demeaning you. It can show up in other ways that are just as harmful.
You know what? Since everybody is racist now as well, we are all now abusers and we're all abusive. That's what it's coming down to. This is a perfect example of how the word abuse has been redefined to fit personal dissatisfaction. And what's crazy is that she admits he never hit her or never called her names, never threatened her, never degraded her, blah, 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 right? But now, years later, she's calling it an abusive relationship? Why? For what? Because he stonewalled you? Because he brought up her past during arguments? Because he deflected blame? Those are poor signs of communication, man. It's not criminal abuse. Her entire commentary hinges on how she felt during the conflict, rooted in her own anxious attachment. I wonder if her therapist said that. It's not an objective standard. It's subjective, man. Now, she didn't even realize or recognize it as abuse until after the therapy taught her modern buzzwords like gaslighting, stonewalling, right? Buzzwords that are now weaponized in breakups to make your ex look like a complete monster. But here's the reality. You stayed in the relationship willingly. And you didn't label it abuse until you needed a story after you left. And by stretching the definition of abuse to include basic disagreements or withdrawal, you're watering it down for people who've actually endured real violence and cruelty. I'm going to leave it off like this. I guarantee, I would bet money, good money, that your therapist is a white female apologist living in Park Slope, Brooklyn, who's been waiting for the chance to tell you every man you've ever dated was abusive. Whether I agree or disagree with the content creator, I'm always going to link them back to the description of my YouTube channel. So if you ever want to go and take a look at their profile, be my guest. Until then, I'll see you guys on the next one. Have a good weekend.